Right, guys, I understand that many of us might find creating a VPC confusing at times. I have devised a straightforward rule that can assist us in understanding the process of creating a VPC. Without wasting much of our time, let's dive into it. All right, so in front of us, we have our AWS account. And to create a VPC or to create a basic VPC, you need four components. Okay. And when I say four components, these are the components listed on the left hand corner on our dashboard. So you have the VPC, you have subnet, you have route tables, you have internet gateway. These are the four basic components you need to put together in order to create a basic VPC. All right, so we're gonna be starting from the top, which is your VPC, moving to subnets, moving to route table, and moving to internet gateway. So moving from the top to the bottom right up to the internet gateway, we're gonna be creating. So you're gonna be clicking just on create. Okay, so from your VPC to the internet gateway, we're gonna be creating. Okay, and from the internet gateway moving upwards, we're gonna be associating or we're gonna be attaching. All right, so guys, let's see how to create a very basic VPC with this rule. So we want to click on your VPC here, and you can see that there's already one VPC on the dashboard, but this is a default VPC created by Amazon. And to know that this is a default VPC, you will always see that there are no names here, or the IPv4 CIDR block is starting with 172 dot you will always start with 172. Okay, so you want to click on create VPC to create our own VPC. Now you can either select VPC only or VPC and more to give you more resource to create a VPC. Right here, but we want to go with the VPC only. So we want to specify a name for our VPC, of which I will call it my VPC, right? And we also want to choose the IPv4 as our CIDR block to make things simple. So moving forward, we want to include our IPv4 CIDR block. Let's go with 10.0.0.0/16 to give it a broader network. All right, we're not gonna select the IPv6 to make things more simple. Okay, for our tenancy, we're gonna leave it at default. All right, and we're gonna come down here and click on create VPC. All right, guys, you can see that you successfully created a VPC with the ID number, and this is the name right here. So we want to move to the second component, which is subnet. So um subnet basically means sub networks. So we want to break our whole network into chunks. Okay, so here you can see there are some default subnets right here, and I've already created like two subnets, but we want to delete these ones, of which they are no more available. Let's just refresh our page. All right, so these ones are the default subnets. Okay, these are the default subnets. So we want to create our own subnet. So we click, remember we're creating from top to bottom, we are creating. So we click on create subnet here, and we want to select the VPC that we want our subnet to be on, which will come here. Remember, the name of our VPC is my VPC right here. So we want to select with this one. And you want to scroll down a little bit and specify the name for the subnet. So let's give it public subnet. All right. And we'll also want to select the availability zone, which we can select right here. Let's give it US is 2A. And for the IPv4 address, we want, you see, Amazon is already giving you suggesting you a CIDR block that you can use for the this subnet. So we want to go with this same CIDR block. So let's say 10.0.0.0/20, right? We want to add another subnet. We can name this one as private subnet. And for the availability zone, you can select 2B. And remember, Amazon is also suggesting a CIDR block 10.0.0.0/20. Remember, we've already given this CIDR block to our previous subnet, so we have to use a different CIDR block. Okay, and we can go with 10.0.16.0/20. So if you want to like create another subnet, you can add 16 to this, which will be 32. Another subnet 16 to 32 will be 48, and so on. That is how you get the networks. So you want to click on create subnet. All right, guys, you can see that we've successfully created our two subnets with each and every of the subnet having their various ID right here. And you can see the two subnets, public subnet and private subnets. And we are moving forward to the next component, which is route tables. Yeah, we're gonna click on route tables, and at the top right we're gonna click on create route table. We're gonna name our route table. We can say route public, and we can select an IP address. Sorry, we can select the VPC that we want our route table to be on, which will be at the VPC that we just created. So it will be my VPC, and click on create route table. All right, you can see that we've successfully created our route table here. The next thing, let's create another route tables. This time will be um, route private. So let's create another route table. You can click on route table and click on create route table. So let's name it route private, and we want to select our VPC that we created. Then click on create route table. All right, guys, if you want to verify, you can see that we've created two route tables successfully, route public and route private. So we also want to move to the internet gateway, which is the last component to create a basic VPC. So remember, we're still creating with our rule that states from top to bottom is creating, from bottom to top, we are associating or we are attaching. So we want to create our internet gateway right here. Click on create internet gateway. We want to specify a name. So you can say fast internet gateway. Sorry, gateway. And you want to click on create internet gateway. All right, so you can see that our internet gateway has been successfully created. And the next thing we have to do, now we're moving from bottom to top on our list. Remember, we have four components. So we're moving now from the internet gateway towards your VPC. Okay, so let's start with the internet gateway. I remember from bottom to top, we are attaching or we are associating. So we are on the internet gateway right now. So we want to associate or we want to attach this to our VPC. So click on action and click on attach VPC right here. You want to select the VPC where you want this internet gateway to be attached to and attach internet gateway. All right, so we've successfully attached our internet gateway. You can see right here, it says, the state says attach. Okay, and you can see the VPC ID. You can see the VPC we created, my VPC. All right, we want to move to the second one from bottom to top, which will be route table. So we want to give the route table some rules. We want to give the route table some rules. So we're gonna select the first one, which is route public. Want to select route public. All right, guys. So once we select All right, guys. So once we select on the route public, we want to give this route some rules to follow. So we'll click here on routes. Okay. Once we click on routes, we want to click on edit routes at the right here. And we want to click on where it says add route. So you want to search for those IP addresses where you want your route to be pointing at. So we want this route to be pointing at the internet. All right. So to make this route to be pointing at the internet, you have to select this IP address here, the 0.0.0.0/0. Okay, so we're gonna select the internet here and we're gonna specify the target, which is the internet gateway. I want to select the internet gateway that we just created, which will be our first internet gateway right here. All right, guys. So once we select all these, we can click on Save Changes. All right, you can see that the destination has changed. The 0.0.0.0/0 has been added to the destination, and you can see the target here. You can see the status active. Okay, so we also want to associate our subnet to this route table. So once you finish with the routes, the next thing you have to click on is subnet associations. So you want to click on subnet association, and at the right here you want to click on where it says edit subnet association. So you want to click on the edit subnet association. All right, so this is a public route. We want to select our public subnet. Okay, so let's attach or associate this public subnet to our public route. Okay, public route table. So we want to select this one, the public subnet right here, and we also want to click on save association. All right, guys, so we've successfully save the association. So this means that this particular subnet will be the one that is pointing to the internet. Okay, it will be the one that is pointing to the internet. So any instance or any S3 bucket that you put in this subnet will be facing the internet. Okay, all right. So we want to check on the second route. This one we want to leave it at we just want to leave it private, so we don't want to add anything there. So we're gonna check on it. You see that the route, the destination, it has a specific IP address, it has a local network address. So we just want to leave it here because we don't want this subnet, this route table to face the internet. So we just want to leave it at this level. Okay. And if you see that we need to associate our subnet to this private route table. So we want to click on subnet association. We want to edit our subnet association, and now we, instead of selecting the public, we're going to select the private because we just want this subnet to stay within the AWS network. We don't want it to face to the internet, so we're going to select the private here, and we click at the bottom right here, we click on save association. All right, guys, so we have successfully associate and also implement the route table rules on the level of route tables. Okay, so what we have to do right here, we're gonna skip the subnet. Okay, just skip this one. Let's move to your VPC. Now, there's an important component on your VPC that once you're done and you think everything is okay, you want to check on it, which is called the resource map. The resource map is an important component that you always want to check once you're done creating your VPC. So you want to select your VPC. Right down here, you will see where it says resource map right here. So you see everything that we've done basically right here. You see that we've created our VPC. This is a VPC that we created. And you see that we created two subnets, which one is located at 2A or US is 2A, and the other one is located at US 2B. And you can see that these two subnets are pointing to two different route tables. One of the route table, which is the route public, is pointing to the internet gateway, which is, we name it our fast internet. Let me go down a little bit here, which we name it our fast internet. Okay, and the other one, which is private, is just is not pointing anywhere, it's just remaining within the AWS network. So anything, any instance you put in here will not be accessible by the internet, but any instance you put in here, since it is pointing at the fast internet, will be accessible by the internet. You can access any instance you put in here. Okay, so this is one thing you want to check. Okay, so guys, let's go ahead, and now that we've created the VPC, let's go ahead and create our instance and see if everything is working properly. Okay, so we want to go to instance, so we'll type in EC2, and right here you can see our EC2. So you want to click on EC2. Right. So on our EC2 dashboard, you want to click on instance. You can either click on instances or you click on launch instances to create our new instance. So we're gonna create two instances. One will be on the private subnet, and another one will be on the public subnet. Then we can check and verify if we can access either one of them through the internet. Okay, so we want to specify our instance's name. I can say my server, my server public. Okay, just to specify the name. And we want to choose the Amazon machine image, that is the army. Let's go with this basic free tier. We want to go with the Amazon Linux, and you make sure that is free and eligible. Okay, so you won't be charged. All right, guys. So we're gonna create a key pair. You can either choose your recent key pairs, but for learning purposes, we're gonna create a new key pair. Okay, so we click on create here, and we can name this key pair secure keys, secure key. Okay, and we're gonna use the ROSA. Okay, we're gonna use PEM. So we're gonna be using either the command line to connect to this instance, or we're going to be using a third-party software to connect to this instance through SSH. That's why we're going to be using the PEM file. Okay, to use the PPK, it means you want to use the porty to connect to these instances. So let's just go with PEM. So right here, you're going to create the key pair. Right, you can see here it has been created and our private key has been downloaded to our local machine, while the public key has been downloaded to the server that we are creating. Okay, so you can see here secure key dot pem has been downloaded to this machine, right? So what we have to do, and this is a very important part, the network settings. Okay, this is where you link your machine or your instance to your VPC that you've created. Okay, so what you want to do right here, you want to click on edit, and now you can see that Amazon has already associated this instance, or they're suggesting that we associate this instance to the default VPC. Okay, but we don't want to do that. We want to associate this instance to the VPC that we created. So we're gonna click drop down here and select my VPC. This is our VPC that we created. So we want to select this, and once we select that, since we want these to be public, let's see the name once more. All right, my server public. So we want this to be public. We're gonna select public subnet. It has already been there, so this is right here, public subnet. We're gonna go with this one. All right, so we want to auto assign public IP address. Okay, we want to auto assign a public IP address to this instance, which we can click on enable. So this is the public address you can use to access this machine. So you want to always assign this public, auto assign public IP. All right, so on our firewall security groups, we're gonna leave it basic, and you want to make sure that SSH is being turned on, and you want to select anywhere from the source type and make sure it is on port 22. So we want to leave the storage at 8 gigabytes. All right, I think this is all you need. Okay, so once you check all the everything is okay, you can click on launch instance right here. All right, so you can see that successfully initiated launch of instance, and you can see the ID right here. So if you want to view this instance, you can scroll down and click on view all instance. So once that is done, you can see that my server public is pending. So just like it's booting up, we're gonna give it some time while we're waiting. Okay, you can see that it has changed to running right now. So we want to create the second instance, and let's click on launch instance here. All right, we want to name this one my server private. Okay, my server private. And we want to also go with the Amazon Linux right here for the army. Make sure it is always free, tier eligible, so you won't be charged. And for the key pair, like I said, we can always let's select the same one that we created, which is my secure key pair, secure key right here. This is the one that we created. So let's just go with the same one, secure key. And for the network settings, you want to click on edit. You select the VPC that we just created, which will be my VPC. And now you see is on the public, but we don't want it to be on the public because we want this instance to remain private within the AWS or the Amazon network. Okay, so we don't want it to go to the or to face the internet. So you want to click on these and select private subnet. So you can either no need to either to assign a public IP, since we want this machine or this instance to remain within the Amazon network. So no need to assign a public IP address. Okay, so we want to check on this firewall security groups. Let's leave it at basic. And for the SSH, make sure it's on SSH and TCP port 22, and the source type should be from anywhere. Okay, so you also want to make the storage should be 8. Leave it at the default storage. And once you see that everything is good, you click on launch instance. All right, guys, so we've successfully created our instance, our two instances. If you can click here, view all instance, refresh the page. All right, so you can see that we have two instances that have been created. One is already running and it has checked passed, which is a good sign. And the other one is still pending. Let's give it some time to come up. All right, so you can see that is running right away and it's still going through the status check. Okay, so if you look here, you will see that one of them have a public IP address and the other one does not have a public IP address. So we can access this through the internet, but this one will only remain within the Amazon network. Okay, so we want to try this. Let's see if we can access the first one. So you can click here, connect. At the top here, you click on connect. All right, once you click on connect, you have four measure ways that you can use to connect to your instance. So you can click, and you see Amazon has outlined the rules you can use. It says open an SSH client. So we're gonna be using the JIT. Let's use JIT, the JIT badge. All right, we have our JIT badge. We've done the first one, and it says locate your private key file. So we already know where our private key file is, which is in the download. So we want to change this directory to download. Okay, and click on enter. All right, and we also want to make sure that our key is not publicly viewable. Okay, so want to change, want to click on this here, copy this command, change mode, and paste, and click on enter. All right, and to connect to our instance, you can see that here it's having the private IP address. Okay, so for learning purposes, I'm just trying to connect to these instances through the internet, but it won't work because it was not linked to our internet gateway. Okay, so let's copy this command here and paste, click on enter. Let's give it some time. All right, let's see if it's giving us any error. All right, so you see that it says SSH cannot SSH connect to host 10.0.18.143.22 connection timeout. So it will not be able to connect to this instance. Okay, so let's try the second one, which is connected to our public subnet. Let's go to our instances once more, click on instance, and we want to go with the public, my server public, which is connected to the internet gateway. So you want to select it, and at the top right, you click on connect. So this is our rule here. We're using the SSH clan, and we're going to select the JIT badge. Make sure you change the directory to downloads where our private keys is located, and you want to change the change the public key to not be public viewable. Sorry, our private key to not be public viewable. So we want to go with this command here. I'm gonna paste. Right, and to connect to our instance properly, we're gonna use this command right here, the ssh-i secure key dot pem ec2 dash user at 18.188.19119.62. So we're gonna copy this command here, and we're gonna paste it. Now type yes. All right, guys, so you can see that we've successfully connected to these instances that was facing, or the instance that was facing to the internet gateway. All right, guys, if you find this video helpful, give it a thumbs up so YouTube can recommend it to other users. And I hope this was very helpful to you. See you another time. You have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye bye.